I think we were talking about the opportunities in front of, not just the freshmen, but the way that Ohio State handled its business last week and how that will carry over towards Ohio, because this challenge is going to be the next step up. We're talking about a team that's much more capable of pushing and testing Ohio State than Grambling was. And Ohio State was quick to point out, like, Grambling really gave them some good looks. They tried. They did not just wind the clock down on every possession and try to get out of there as fast as possible. Like,
they were trying to run, and they were trying to get better too.
And I think that it's important, that the emphasis on Ohio State improving itself and that the standard is the standard internally. I think they took that message to heart, and the mandate, I guess, for lack of a better term, for Ohio State a week ago was like, if you want to get your teammates some reps, if you want to get the backups involved, if you want to celebrate in the second half and watch Zion Grady or Riley Pettijohn or Aaron Scott or Bryce West, then you need to go out and handle business immediately.
Zion Grady lone sack, I believe.
He had the sack. I think they were credited with 2 in the game.
Okay.
But he had the one there. C.J. Hicks flushing him out, and then it was finished off there.
Caden Curry had the other one.
Yeah, Caden Curry really playing well through 2 weeks. But if you use starters, they're not going to sprinkle in the rotation early on and mess around with the game. Put this over with, and then you can take off the entire third quarter, entire fourth quarter.
You get to watch your teammates do their thing because they've been grinding with you the same time that you have.
And I think that's significant because a lot of times we come out of these tune-up games and all we want to talk about is these next guys and who might help. And we've already done that on the Buckeye Show tonight. And we'll keep doing that because we deserve to call out and project into the future what this is going to look like. Hey, could Riley Pettijohn find a role? What would that look like now? What's it going to look like a year from now? Like, that's part of the game. That's part of the fun. But oftentimes we miss, because the talent disparity is so wide between a program like Grambling and Ohio State, like, if you go execute at the level that Julian Sayin did, if you ignore the contributions and the way that the passing attack was expanded or the quality of receptions, catches from Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith in this game, it's unfair to them. Like, they had to go handle their business, and the faster they get that done, the better it is for the program, obviously. But how many times have you seen it, Beam? You have these games. It's hard to get up for it. Think about Tulsa with C.J. Stroud a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Just sleepy games. Like, why hasn't Ohio State put this away? They didn't get up to play for it.
Before you had mentioned that, I forgot that was even a real thing.
It happened. And I've sat through a number of these games where it's just like, it's never going to be in doubt, the outcome. Like, Ohio State's going to win this game. They're going to win it comfortably. They're going to win it by a couple scores. But it's like, ooh, that doesn't look like the way it's supposed to look. I think it's worth pointing out, if the starters make it look like what it's supposed to look like, that still takes a lot of work to do. You can't just roll the football out and roll the helmets out and say that that's going to happen. Ohio State's going to win those games by accident, like, if it's not trying, because they're so much better. But if you go out and send and do something like 70-0 last week, and we'll see what it looks like on Saturday against Ohio U, but that's worth, going back through the first half and not just saying, well, let's focus on the freshmen instead. Mm-hmm. Like, you can look at both, and I think there's so much to glean from the way that Julian Sayin played in that game, the accuracy and the ball placement.
It was spectacular.
And Carnell Tate with the first touchdown catch, with the way he adjusted on the deep throw down there on the post. Like, you can take stuff out of that. Dude, Will Kazmarek, the way that the tight ends played. Like, don't be in such a hurry. And I guess I'm reminding myself of this more than anybody else. I'm not trying to get on a soapbox, but, like, don't take for granted what the starters did, the effort that went into that game and getting it over quickly enough so that we can then watch what the freshmen can do and see what the depth looks like and give them opportunities to get ready for the rest of the year. Like, that was a lot of hard work for those guys too. Absolutely, it was. Your question of the day brings us kind of in that same happenstance category. You can go read this on LettermanRow.com, which is great. Highly recommend that you subscribe to that site. I'm subscribed as well, and they don't pay me anything to tell you that, but I am subscribed. We did comp you the subscription. Well, you didn't pay me, though. The question is this. It was nice to see Tavien St. Clair get some reps on Saturday, but forthcoming, I hope Julian Sayin goes 3 quarters if possible for Ohio State. He needs the reps, and Lincoln Kienholz needs the remainder. He's only 1 snap away. I think it's a good point. I think it's a really good point. I also think that it was 70-0, and if you want to get
Tavien St. Clair some reps, it's probably one of very, very few opportunities that he's going to be afforded in this season. And I get it that you're one snap away from seeing Lincoln Kienholz, and then you're just another snap away from seeing Tavien St. Clair at quarterback. I understand this point. Julian is still growing into this offense. But if I'm putting my coaching hat on, and nobody's asking me to do that, you saw what you needed to see out of Julian Sayin in the first-string offense through the first half this weekend.
Yeah, and if the situation was different, meaning last year Will Howard and Devin Brown had played enough football that you get to that point in the fourth quarter and that's the score on the board, like, fine. Let him go out there, let him throw, and then do that against other opponents. I think there were opportunities a year ago that Julian Sayin got that were not because Ohio State was in a hurry to speed up the development process. It was that the two guys ahead of him on the depth chart did not need the work, and the backup was experienced enough we saw what Devin Brown did off the bench at Michigan State. They didn't have to force that with him. They knew what he was going to be capable of if they had to turn to him. That's not the situation that Ohio State is in, either with Julian Sayin, who has surpassed, I think, even the most outlandish expectations for what he could become.
Well, especially when you
already
flip it to what the narrative was, not from a you and me perspective or Justin Zwick perspective, who will be on tomorrow giving his thoughts on what he saw Saturday against Grambling and what to expect Saturday against Ohio, but just a national narrative, Austin, coming out of the Texas game compared to where it's at just following 1 week later.
Yeah, and so, but no matter what that looks like or doesn't look like, Julian Sayin is still, he's only been on the Ohio State campus for 19, 20 months at this point. He's only started 2 games. He got some off the bench, mop-up duty a year ago. That's helpful. That goes a little bit of ways to getting you ready to play for the speed of the game, but not nearly as far as like going out there to play against Texas. So, as you move forward here, you still have to have Julian Sayin. He's experiencing a lot of things for the first time. And a lot of the things so far, first touchdown pass, first win over Texas, first interception, both the positives and the negatives. Like, he's still going through a lot of those things for the first time. So
hasn't experienced his first sack yet. That's a big nod to him and the Ohio State offensive line.
Just jinxed the no-hitter there, Beam, but, that happens. And it'll happen to him at some point. And that's another thing that you want to find out how he reacts to it. And I think there would be a tendency to try and microwave that. All right, well, let Julian stay out there into the third quarter, and let's work through their growing pains as fast as possible. But the complicating factor, if you are tempted to do that, is the one snap away. Lincoln Kienholz had not taken a meaningful snap since the Cotton Bowl against Missouri, the bad Cotton Bowl, the one that we don't even speak of, where he wasn't ready for that. So he needed the reps. And I think that's why the situation was probably only going to happen, and we'll see. I think it's likely that only one opportunity was going to exist this season to get Tavien St. Clair into a game.
Agreed.
And that was Saturday against Grambling. And everyone is aware of this. It's not a mystery. Tavien is not the 5-star who's going to come in and demand that he's going to play.
They have told you the game plan for him, and he has said the game plan for him.
He knows it, and he's aware of it and accepting of that. And I think he's grateful that he got on the field against Grambling for that first time. He got to lead a touchdown drive, got to feel what that was like to celebrate with teammates. Probably would have liked to complete a pass or two more.
And a good pass.
Or a pass or two. Yeah, I mean, that's you want to do that, and those chances are going to come. And maybe there's going to be some unexpected opportunities that materialize. He can be out there up to 4 times, and it won't burn a red shirt. But because Lincoln Kienholz is not 2 snaps away, he's 1 snap away from potentially needing to go in. I think that's what will put this on the back burner for Tavien St. Clair moving forward, and all the rest of these backup reps. When Julian Sayin comes out and that's enough, you don't need to risk it anymore with him, then you get that work for Lincoln. And who, by the way, like Ryan Day has gone out of his way last Wednesday, coming off the practice field, after the game on Saturday, again earlier today, talking about the way Lincoln Kienholz played. They're very excited about what he's doing. And he only had 1 incompletion.
Looked good when he got in the game.
6 for 7. He did some of the running that we know that he's capable of.
It was different.
Yeah.
It's
could tell the difference. Same. Yeah. And we knew that would be the case. And the arm talent is the differentiator between those two. But he also, the slant king, went out there and ripped a slant, to Bryson Rodgers. And that's the stuff that we were talking about. People, I think when there was skepticism being about, is this a legitimate competition between Julian Sayin and Lincoln Kienholz. It's because we know what the arm talent for Julian can look like, and the lasting memory of Lincoln was the Cotton Bowl. I think something like that second half, even if it was just Grambling, overmatched opponent, whatever. There is an example on film of the things that Lincoln Kienholz can do well if he needs to. And the hope is that with this point spread or the difference between these two programs talent-wise on Saturday night is that Lincoln would get more opportunities like that in the second half this week. I don't think any opportunities are going to necessarily afford themselves for Tavien St. Clair the rest of this year, and that's fine. Like that, Ryan Day, Billy Fessler, Brian Hartline, they've made this clear all along. Like there's two separate tracks going on here. The competition and the battle and the top of the depth chart, making sure that Lincoln Kienholz and Julian Sayin are both ready to play in games, and then preparing for the future for Tavien St. Clair. And you can do that without playing in a lot of games. It's helpful if you can, but Ohio State will not force it with Tavien the rest of the way.
It's just much of a different situation than what Julian Sayin was in last year,
100%.
Given the guys in the room and being Will Howard and Devin Brown, right? I mean, just totally different scenarios. We'll do #Buckeyes next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
The only work.